Let me tell you a little bit of a story about my own struggles with making, manifesting, and keeping money that once I overcame through what I'm going to be giving you today, helped me get to where I am now. Now, let me give you a little bit of a brief explanation as to where I am now compared to where I was, and then the journey. I grew up poor. My mother had to do a lot of things just to put food on the table, and that gave me a very, very poor view of money. But on the flip side, as far as I remember, my father was also not particularly generous with his money. Whether that was due to not having enough or whether it was due to, him being some form of Ebenezer Scrooge, I don't really know. I was just a child. But either way, it created within me this money doesn't grow on trees. If you get money, something takes it away. Money's the root of all evil. Yada, yada, yada. Stories that many of us share right now. And so these things played out. Despite working in high-paying jobs, despite having projects on the side that were bringing in extra money, I never got my investments or savings going. I never had enough money to be able to spend frugally for a month and then be like, it's all good. And if I ever did have any sums of money, bonuses or things like that, something would happen to take it away. And I couldn't understand why. But then I found my way into the law of attraction, law of assumption, manifestation realm, and realized that I was just recreating these experiences through my stories. And then it all clicked. And I'll be honest, it wasn't that's why I'ma change it. It took some struggle. It took a lot of trial and error. But from going from the person with no savings, no investment, just about enough money to get through the month, but sometimes having plain spaghetti for a couple of nights just to get by, to where I am now, where I fund my entire household purely myself. Katie has everything she wants. The kids have everything they want. The savings are flying up. The investment accounts are flying up. I've got enough money to do whatever I want with. That's a long, long way from where I was. And it's through what I'm giving you the remainder of this video that I did this. Manifesting money. Changing beliefs around money. So there's a couple of things I want to give you. There's some things on how to actually manifest money, 2 different processes that I recommend you follow. And then they're like the sort of surface level things, but then there's the root cause that kind of gets the engine going. I'll start with the root cause because that is the most important factor. Find your stories. For me, as I explained, mother did a lot to put food on the table, but it killed her, really. Not literally, but watching it was a struggle, mental health concerns, all that kind of stuff, just to be able to feed me and herself. Dad didn't really spend generously, so it kind of gave me this idea of like, once you got money, you got to cling to it, which is the worst thing to do because that is a lack-based mindset. Now, I'm not at all, do not take this to mean that I am telling you right now to go and spend stupidly. But there's a very big difference between being willing to let money go, to allow money to flow, and holding onto it or spending ridiculously crazy. But what I urge you to do once you've jumped off this video is to actually sit and work out what your stories are. You might have similar stories to me, or you might have something different, but get deep. Ask yourself, why does money not come my way? And why, when money does come my way, it seems to go? Why am I scared to make money? Because you can be scared to make money as well as you are scared to not have money. Another example of myself is VAT for the longest time scared the shit out of me. I was concerned that when my business reached VAT level, I'd have to either up my prices to accommodate the VAT that the government take, which would either then mean that because of the hike in prices, I might not get clients, or I would have to take that cut myself to keep my prices the same, which would then mean that I would then have to get more clients just to be able to make the same amount of money. That was my fear. So I was scared of getting to VAT, so much so that I was quite willing to not earn more than a certain amount so I didn't have to deal with this. but that's fear, that's lack. So you can actually fear succeeding. So get clear, sit down, write with a pen and paper, or grab my core belief sheet. It is literally only, I think, like £3, and it's transferable. So you can use it for a specific person, money, other stuff. Just go grab it. It'll make your life easier. It's linked on my website in the shops tab. But get clear. And then with these answers, you can work on revising them. Now, my version of revision is just simply adding "I always have been" at the beginning. It's simple, it's clean, it works effectively. For me, it's enough. There is no reason to be going through every single fucking scene trying to change them all individually. There is no reason staying up night after night after night after night trying to do sats so you can visualize this different scene going a different way, losing sleep, getting frustrated. It is not necessary. I'll give you an example. I have always had enough money to get whatever I want. Simple. Revision. That was just off the top of my head. Obviously, I do urge you to actually look into your stories and tailor them specifically. But that kind of thing is perfectly fine. I have always been, or there has always been, or there will always be, or whatever you feel your thing is. Because you might have a fear that, you won't have money next month through your business or something like that. So get clear on the story, understand what you wish to be true, and then always have been at the beginning. So more than enough money is what you wish to be true. The revision is I have always had more than enough money. Or if you're fearing the future, I will always have more than enough money, and things like that. But this is what I recommend you do at a core basis. And of course, I can't go through every example, so if you do have a specific question, just put it down in the comment section below. But this kind of revision is how you can aid with those core beliefs. When you're presented with fear in the 3D because of money, doesn't mean you have to spend that money and just pretend like you're not scared, but change the meaning. For example, while earning more money and trying to build it up, I still had things I wanted to buy, but objectively I couldn't. So what I would do is, instead of saying, I don't have enough money for this, I would say something along the lines of, I've got more than enough money for this, but no room in my closet. Or, yeah, but I don't really feel like lugging this home right now. I would change the reason why I wasn't buying it away from financial struggle onto something else. I'd make the claim that I had more than enough money, but I'm not doing it for X other reason. And that helped me stay abundant while not spending the money stupidly. But that's the kind of core belief, that's the root issue side of things. Actually manifesting money, what do we do? Well, there's two things to consider. There's money, and then there's project that creates money. It would really depend on what your desires are out of life. For example, myself, I would rather create something that brings consistent money in, as opposed to just having these random spurts of money. Because creating something gives me purpose, it makes me feel like I'm doing something, and it helps me feel like I've earned that money. Now, this isn't to say that you have to do stuff to get money. You don't necessarily have to earn it, so to speak, because consciousness is what creates, and you deserve to have it. Thus, you deserve to utilize consciousness to create it. But for me personally, the way that I'm built, the way that I am, I love doing things. Thus, when I do something and get rewarded for it, it just ticks differently in my brain. So for me personally, instead of affirming random sums of money come to me, I would rather affirm something like, I have so many new and returning coaching clients graciously paying me for my products and services. For example, purpose, business, driven, mission is my thing. So that's why I urge you to get clear on what you want. Do you want money just for the sake of money, or do you want to build something that brings money? Once you get clear on that, it obviously helps you with a little bit of direction. If you want money for something specific, so you don't just randomly want money to hold there, you want to actually go on holiday or something like that, what I would urge you to consider is just focusing on manifesting that specific thing itself and not the money for it. The reason being, there are other ways that things can come about. Holiday, for example, someone could invite you. You could win tickets to a cruise or something like that. There are options. Whereas if you go for money with the intention, a lot of time, and we've all done this many, many times, a lot of time that money comes in and you're like, oh, takeaway wouldn't hurt today. Oh, actually, you know what? I could just quickly use this to get some early Christmas presents. Or I could just use this for the kids' school uniform. And before you know it, the £3,000 that was for that holiday has now gone down to 2,000 because you had other errands to do. And then you're like, oh shit, I ain't got that grand to spend on the holiday. I can't do it. Some people will put that 2K away and save. Most will just gradually chip away and spend at it, especially if you have poor stories around finances. So what I urge you to do, if it's for a specific thing, manifest that specific thing itself and save yourself the middleman. Money is the money equivalent of manifesting texts. You get the text, you get the money, but does it actually lead you to where you want to go? Not always. So I urge you to actually, if it's for something, manifest that something. If it is just for the sake of money, then dwell in the end result of having money. Or the other route, build something that brings you consistent income, such as a business, such as an investment account, and utilize that from a manifestation perspective. But how we do it, it is the same as every other manifestation process. Get clear on what you want, make a claim that you have said thing. Spend 5 to 10 minutes in the morning and evening affirming, visualizing, scripting, inner conversing, whatever it is that you enjoy doing, but making claim that you have that money through the means that you deem necessary. As you go through a day, live life to the fullest. Where money comes up, redirect thoughts back to being abundant. Redirect feelings back to being abundant and act as though you are abundant. If you want to buy something but you don't have the money in your bank account, you obviously can't buy it in that specific moment. But instead of saying, I can't afford it, make up another reason. If you were genuinely rich but didn't want to buy something, there would be reasons for it. Consider those. Closet's too full. You haven't got the car right now to drive it home or something like that. When tested with the moments, try to think, feel, and act abundantly. Get back on with your day after. Evening comes, you manifest. Same process. Same process as every other manifestation. The only reason why I'm shortening this part compared to the rest of it is because I think it's the other side of it that's a bit more important. So this is what I recommend if you want to get from where you are to high abundance, just the same as I went from never being able to have money and struggling to afford a masonette, which for those of you who don't know, a masonette is a house cut in half basically. One set of people have the downstairs, one set of people have the upstairs. My masonette was extremely cheap because I got it from going through the foster care system, and I was still struggling to afford it, to living where I'm at now, which is a 3-bedroom house and so on, and affording all of it on my own, investment accounts going up and all the other things that I listed. And I say that purely to explain just how big of a leap it is for me using these principles. So get clear on your old stories, revise them. Get clear on if you want money for money, if you want money for something, or if you would just like to have money as a consistent thing through a means of purpose, such as a business, investment account, or something. Once you've got clear on that, 5 to 10 minutes in the morning and night of claiming it through whatever means you desire, affirmations, visualizations, sats, scripting, whatever. And then as you go through your day, allow things to work in the background, but when money comes to mind, whether it's 3D instances or your thoughts and feelings, redirect back to abundance, create meaning that show that you're abundant, you're just not acting out of this abundance for some other reason, and this will bring money your way. And if you're interested in manifesting your deepest desires, whether that's a person, money, an identity shift, or anything of the like, and you're wanting to skip the delays, skip the uncertainty, and most importantly, skip the possibility of experiencing something you do not wish to experience, I have services available for you to help with that. And right now on the screen, you are seeing other people who have utilized my services and got amazing results. So I'm certain I can help you do the same. But now is the best time to jump into my services because I'm opening up a few more slots for some of you, but they are limited, so get them while you can before the Christmas holidays. Thank you very much for your time in today's video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.